Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Altar. This is part 2 of our 100th episode, and yes, you can have two 100th episodes. This is the after party special where we are here after having just been on our buddy Frank's show, quite frankly, discussing the merits of anarcho capitalism and libertarianism. And in Max's case, feudalism and indentured servitude, and in my case, manufacturing heroin. So,
And in my case,
we figured
left on red.
exactly. Unfortunately. So,
Fucked up.
we planned on having a bunch of, quite frankly, people come here and further their conversation on anarchism in Ancapistan. So we figured that we would greet them in proper Ancapistan attire. So if anybody has any questions, or longtime fans, if you'd like to discuss anything else, for the most part, we're just winging this episode. We don't really have anything planned.
We
There's,
did
like,
not have a subject
Two new
matter.
people? No,
We
sorry, I'm
we
being stupid.
one of the first episodes that I joined for, we did in depth discuss the Ukraine situation.
Hmm.
I think it's worth revisiting in a little bit that Russia has levied about 500,000 new soldiers, and despite the fact that the NATO alliance has sent 100 tanks over, that really there's not a lot that they can do against that, and that glorious Putin and his hordes of orcs will conquer all of Eastern Ukraine.
I'll say superior technology usually wins, and also when you're backed from most of the Western powers, you really can't truly lose. You'll lose eventually in one way or another, just not in the way that you thought. So it feels like.
I don't
Go
think
ahead,
the
I'm sorry.
technology thing is as much as you think. I think a tank is a tank in the sense that it's armored.
It's more of the
Like,
drones and artillery that are really 90% of like what gets people killed anyways.
Yeah, this war is about drones and artillery. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm saying is like human wave tactics don't really work anymore, especially when you have the entire like West pretty much just throwing anything they want at them. Like, oh fuck, you guys need some fucking drones or some tanks or like
It's
assets of a
human
drone.
I don't think the
They're
Russians
not doing like
destroying
real
waves.
human wave tactics, but they're doing like the modern equivalent, which is throwing a bunch of fucking lackeys and like people who probably would rather, I don't know, do anything else but fight in a war they don't agree with. Or it's not real human wave tactics, which I don't think
Well,
even truly exists in the way people talk
I
about it.
think
But it's the
internal-
equivalent of if you want to be a retard like I am right now.
internally, like the war has never been more popular in Russia. Basically, like the fact that NATO is pumping weapons into Ukraine is like all they need to say.
Oh, it
to
validates
the
certain
average
things.
Russian. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Like this is one of those conflicts where like, yeah, Russia shouldn't have invaded, but Ukraine isn't exactly the people of a good country, but it doesn't deserve anybody to be shot and killed over it. They should just have all the leaders get into a fucking boxing match, and then hopefully one of them kills each other because one of them was wearing brass knuckles under the gloves.
So we got two
Does that
questions in
work?
the chat real quick, gentlemen.
There we go. That's probably better.
Question number 1 is from Hugo Tamale. Came from Frank's channel. You guys had some great points. How do I join the cult?
Okay.
What does he mean, like
So,
cult, like
Grimace.
our Discord, or like?
Or are we
the
talking like
anarchy cult?
like anarchy cult? Because it's pretty much the same, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be the best cult leader because the sex appeal is very important.
True, but your cult would be dedicated to twinks only. You would be like where we would
You-
send
Whoa.
the other men.
You know how
Okay,
powerful
so
a bunch of gays on
logistically,
anabolic
though-
steroids are.
Logistically, though, like how can we join the Discord server and chat in? Like it'd be fun to have some video calls.
Where-
We could you could put the link probably in the chat itself. They had to copy and paste it.
Mhm.
Then they'd go through the main entrance, which I think we already had 2 people go through, and then they'd have to go through there. As
And
far
then,
as
yeah, you come
that.
into the waiting room, and then we decide whether or not we grant
Yeah.
you access.
which means
We racial
probably
profile you.
will.
We probably will.
We probably will.
Okay, I did paste the link to our show in Frank's chat,
Mhm.
and then so
I like-
we got a couple people maybe. out of that.
Paste it probably in this chat as well, just because if they're already here.
Well, no, I just posted the Discord in our chat.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, the link to our Frank's still talking. He's still
Yeah,
like
he's
live.
doing like he has like callers coming in.
Oh,
Yo,
sure, and
that
he's
chat
got, like,
room
the
was fantastic because like
Yeah.
half the people were calling us fucking insane, and the other half was like, "Oh, making some good points, making some good points."
That's
You
that's
can't
how
win
it
them
gets you.
all. Like,
I was a little upset because there were so many conversation pieces where I could actually butt in with my own personal experiences, mostly drug use. It's very big shame. So we'll have to make up for it here.
yeah,
Where I make
all,
bad
all I've
points
got
here.
to hold over people is like, oh, my cousin died from heroin OD or
Yeah,
like
well,
opioid.
I
Your
survived a
cousin should
morphine
have
overdose.
just gotten good. Like, I don't know what else
Yeah,
to say.
yeah, listen.
Your cousin had weak genes. He couldn't handle it.
Okay, that's a bit
No,
mean.
that's
a bit
legit,
fucked.
right?
That's
Like
it.
Okay.
everybody else made
Why
it,
do you think
but-
Native
Jesus
Americans
Christ.
can't handle alcohol? Like, they're genetically not wired for it. Your cousin was not wired for heroin. He fucked around and found out. Sorry.
Okay, as someone who survived a morphine overdose and didn't go to the hospital, it's not a good time. Well, I'm going to say to anybody who's watching is, if you're going to do drugs, do like the cool party ones, and by that I mean probably don't do any of them. But if you're going to, just smoke weed and be a fucking boring loser. I don't know what to tell
Exactly.
you, bro.
I love being a boring loser who smokes weed and has.
It's
like,
such a
one
smarter
drink.
move because your organs will function.
Yeah.
To be fair, the
I
reason
mean,
I'm sick is because I had fish fillet, but that's beside the point for
I shouldn't
McDonald's.
say this with my real face displayed, but like cocaine's fine too.
It really depends who you get it from. Allegedly.
Yeah. Okay. No. Honestly, like, yeah. So much cocaine these days is cut, right? Like,
Well,
it's
no
not
matter
good.
what, it's always going to be cut. There's no pure really in the U.S. unless you're buying the whole fucking brick, which even then, I mean, you could test it yourself. There are kits, but you're an asshole if you do that. Honestly, if you're buying below like $200 worth of this shit, because what are you out of your fucking mind? Like usually it's funny if you're near a major city, depending on the right dealer, like it's usually like 80% pure.
But if you live in like the middle of bumfuck nowhere, the shit's so fucking stepped on. It's like a fucking dance floor was on it.
It's ridiculous. It's like the further away from the city because there's less of an incentive to have it be pure. Because like, fuck it, I gotta deal with.
It's a logistics.
It's a weird.
issue.
It's a weird.
more
Yeah, it's a
costly,
weird thing
there's
where
more
like it
risk
sounds
to
like
bring
the
it that
opposite
much
should be
farther.
true, but it's not.
I mean, it probably gets passed. Like each person who gets it passed to them just probably just cuts it.
I mean,
one-
it's
one
like
at a
that
time.
simple thing that like every documentary about like yayo will talk about, or really any drug, is that like say a brick of coke is like 30 grand. It varies, but really in a day, let's just say 30. And then you cut it with baby aspirin or baking powder or what have you. You can make 100 grand from one brick and make basically 3 bricks worth of yayo that most people are still going to get a fucking zoot off of because they're not. You know, your hardcore users aren't going to give a shit because they'll come back, and the people who only do it sometimes aren't going to know any better. And now you're not talking about high-end clients like fucking stockbrokers and other scumbags. So it's like there's an incentive to
think
break it down.
Like the like primo drug dealer, like if they're dealing with both kinds of clients, they would have like a pure brick and they'd have.
Oh yeah, no.
they'd
It
have a
really
cut brick.
because there are people who know their clients pretty well in that sense of like what to give them, what like will get somebody pissed off and what won't. Because say the average Joe Schmo who's buying a gram every few months, they're gonna get stepped on. And I don't mean stepped on like you're gonna find fucking fentanyl. I mean that is a serious issue depending where you are. It's a little less common with coke because unless a chain of the guy before him who is a fucking idiot, usually your actual. Actually, I really shouldn't try to put a positive light on dealers because it's not the reality. One could just be lucky. Someone out there, not me. I don't know because I just drink lemonade and have a good day.
Mm.
There's a whole issue of obviously what is put into that stuff, but that's where like the black market is both good and bad. Where the shit's not regulated, but it's not the government can poison it, but then also some fucking jackhole can put fentanyl in it, and you get a hot spot in your fucking brick, and then you get the gram, and the guy didn't mix it. Doesn't matter if it's mixed because fentanyl's fucking
Nuts.
because I mean you saw those pictures of like how much fentanyl.
No,
it
you
takes to
can't
fix an
even
OD.
like casually like go into opium anymore. It's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gone anywhere near anything like that in years, mostly because of a overdose where I was lucky to not have to go to the hospital
Oh,
and or die.
that was the other
because-
thing that was funny.
What?
It was when we were talking about drugs and shit. When I was like going hardcore, with like yeah, heroin, meth, whatever, dude. It's like a lot of the people, like not a lot, like some people were basically talking about like how I was like encouraging that you should do it. I was like, I wasn't saying that. I wasn't saying go ahead and do it. I said if you were so inclined to,
if one was so
you
ready
should
to
be able to.
Also to
Well,
Terry. I'm sorry.
I think I like made the right point, which is like, yeah, you want to know what potency you're getting if you're an addict, and just be like I know I'm not going to OD on this
I could have
shit.
kicked your ass for that anarchist society's answer.
Let me
For
Really?
real. Yeah, well, because it would be like it was good, but I'm like, you got to remember who you're talking to.
Yeah.
know your demographic.
Yeah,
Know your audience. It's like
if you're talking to a
politicians.
bunch of us, then yeah, it makes plenty of sense. Like technically we're living in anarchy right now, and the state is the mafia, right? But how many
Mhm.
people outside of like anarchists are gonna agree with that specifically? Right? That's why I was like looking at like I remember I had a fucking list of all these because I remember Celtic Ireland and shit like that. I'm like, yeah, there's been a lot of anarchist societies, and the point I wasn't able to tell Frank was the only reason they ended was because of government, like government not liking that and then taking over, which, in my opinion,
Well, or
is an
it was
argument
some
against
imperial
government.
power,
Yeah,
namely the British crown or the Norwegian crown, because
Norway.
Iceland started out as an anarchist colony, and then the Norwegian crown was basically like, hey, stop doing that. We're gonna tax you.
No, they didn't
Um,
sound like that. They're like, stop doing that. Don't worry. We take over government and make things better. And then we're gonna have great boat. That being said, I wanted to quickly explain to Terry. People who are selling drugs aren't fucking smart outside of basic economics, so they'll mix whatever's in there. Fentanyl is stupid cheap, so they'll put it in stuff that has opposite effects. The idiocy of the average drug dealer is pretty intense, considering how much of them talk tough in the middle of a bar. Sometimes a cop bar. I'm not kidding. I've seen this happen allegedly.
mm,
Where they try to talk all gangster, it's like, yeah, you may be making $100,000 a year through making drugs, but you just said that in a bar that's mostly former and or active police department people who will do their fucking job because they're gonna catch you and they're gonna get a fucking big buzz. It's gonna look great. So yeah, drug dealers are fucking stupid very often. Actually, in general, because they could have used that smarts to do like a business where they wouldn't be under the threat of being killed by other drug dealers and or be arrested by the DEA and go from 25 to life. Or honestly, just go to a different country where it'd be way more based. Australia makes a lot more money with drugs. Not that anyone should fucking do that because Australia fucking sucks. But that's just an opinion there.
it was an opinion.
I'm just looking at the comments that we have. Like mostly our peoples.
Yeah, our peeps, the usual suspects.
The cult followers.
Let's see. People can't wrap their minds around the idea that morally and legality are different things. Okay, I mean that's for this group of people who often watch. That's very true. Like they're and yet again, I will always try to be the person who's trying to at least look at the other perspective because you guys will just do your thing and be virulent, and I have to be the empath, so to speak. Where it's like there's certain reasons laws exist.
No.
The fact they punish in such a heavy way is different than like, oh well, just this is just a piece of paper say just don't do that. So like the average idiot will just not do that, but then as the asshole who ruins it for everybody, and then have to put a law in. And should that be the case? No, but it does work to a decent extent, sadly, because people are fucking stupid in both sides of the bracket. Like jaywalking as a law is fucking retarded. But then some fucking idiot fucking walks out in the middle of the night in pitch black and still fucking, is has a right of way, even though in some insurance cases, person hits them in pitch black darkness doesn't go to jail for manslaughter or whatever have you. But other cases like, oh well, that's why jaywalking is a crime because we're preventing that from happening. Or a seatbelt thing. It's like, yeah, you should probably wear a seatbelt so you don't fly out the fucking window going 70 and die. But there's a law to prevent most people from doing it because the incentive of paying $70 to have a traffic ticket is enough. Because some people are fucking stupid, one way or the other, either the government or the people who cause this thing to exist. You know what I mean?
The thing
it's
with
like if there wasn't the law, the insurance companies would be liable for not having like a policy or something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it's a different flavor of how you enforce something. One is more passive or more of a free will, so to speak. But the end all be all is still like there's somebody in place that will do that kind of ramification. Just one is less aggressive or less punishing, or I could just not do it and I have insurance. So there's slightly more freedom, but the end all be all is that there will always be someone in place or something in place.
You
Just a
talk
different
about how
flavor
Ben's
and
ready for
more
the
of a
Irish
free movement to-
unification.
What?
I am ready.
How Ben's ready for the Irish
It's
unification.
next year, man.
Ooh,
Yeah,
up
it's
the
coming.
raw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2024.
Should I do my usual bit where I say the IRA is kind of a fucking bunch of cucks at this point?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Sure.
Sure.
why not?
Okay. So basically, as someone who is obviously an American probably first by anyone from the European nations, say Italy and Ireland, which I am descendants of, I think that the IRA should probably not be taken as seriously anymore at this point, because the only reason they're probably going to get unified is because Northern Ireland probably doesn't want to be part of the UK because it's not in the EU, and Ireland's part of the EU, and that's probably the only reason they'll let you unify, is not because of violent actions or any other political means, because most of Northern Ireland, last I checked, don't really give a shit, and they don't really mind until the EU thing happened, as of the last 10 years, if I remember right. And if you're a, revolutionary force that's been funded by several Western nations, say the CIA and other countries, as well as I'm sure some Eastern nations, for
Most of their
your
guns
violent
come out of
actions.
Libya, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there was also the CIA sending out a bunch of fucking anti-material rifles, and I'm sure training and so on. If you're sending rifles, you're sending training, probably, is my assumption. You're sending at least one jack off, make John O'Houlihan fucking trains them, who's a CIA fucking, operative. And all I'm saying is that, like, listen, yeah, unifying Ireland, great, good, should be done, but the IRA has clearly proven that they're not very good at it. Because, I mean, bro, you guys got a lot of time and a lot of funding.
They've had literally since 1922.
Yeah, as officially, as like an official organization. Before that, obviously, be less disorganized. And obviously, like, yeah, sometimes revolutions are a little harder, or there's certain ways of, like, there's a different way of winning, or this and that. But I think the average person who's like, yeah, man, the IRA is like, yeah, I mean, there probably was better ways to fucking deal with this shit. I mean, not to ignore the fact the UK sent a military force to do a policeman's job, especially during the time when the UK policemen were a bunch of brutal fucking beat mongering assholes. I mean, I have a horror story of my own grandfather who was a Korean War vet who was in the UK, who was of Irish descent, and like being tortured by fucking bobbies until they realized he was a fucking Air Force member, which almost caused like a whole fucking incident for obvious reasons, because torturing a fucking service member because he was hitting on a British woman because he's Irish is pretty fucked up. But that was the 50s and shit, so like they don't really, that those are a bunch of guys being like,
pan out to today, right? Like it obviously it'd be like a major thing.
in modern day it'd be a lot more major, but like how dudes just handled like extreme awfulness, especially like a man who's an Irish immigrant. He pretty much was, it took a bunch of guys to kick his ass in a bar to get him for the bobbies to arrest him. It was like, he's one of those guys who's like that old fashioned big and strong, 6'3", a fuck ton of weight, and then you're Irish. And you're Irish American during like the Prohibition era, like, yeah, no, like, that's a different kind of toughness that you don't see today. And I'm not trying to like boost the ego of my own family's reputation or whatever. It's just more of like, there's just
I gotta
brick
ask
shit house
for
shit.
somebody who's maybe a little more connected to the Irish than maybe I am. In the sci-fi series The Expanse, do you know of it?
I know of the show. I know it's like a very grounded sci-fi show. My Finnish friend keeps trying to boost it to me.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it lately.
Mhm.
They refer to the Martians as Mickeys
Ooh.
as their slur. For
Okay.
Martians. And I'm
Good slur.
wondering if that is I know it's for Irish people, like
Yeah.
you
Yeah, you call someone a Mick, or I mean, bog trotter, Mick, but
Bog
potato eating prick. Bog trotter is probably the more intense sounding one, because Mick is just kind of like, I don't know, Mick doesn't sound too bad, because Mick O'Brien or McDonald's or McGillicuddy, whatever the fuck.
Mick
What was your question? I'm sorry.
Well, okay, it is the Expanse's use of calling Martians mix grossly inappropriate.
I mean, I'm an Irish American, so I haven't really faced that kind of persecution of like my grandparents or great grandparents. So I really don't think I could probably speak too much on it. I mean, it's probably not the best move if they care that much, but also it's like
Well,
there's historical
maybe
persecution, but modern persecution is
Martians
probably less
are
than
are the Irish of the future, right?
I mean, red planet, red hair.
I almost got my ass kicked because some Irish dude thought I called him a Mick one time
Mm,
because I went to some party and there's some dude I didn't like there who was Irish.
mm.
Like I didn't like him. It wasn't because he was Irish. I didn't like him because he was an asshole, right? So
Well, it
we're
usually
there.
goes hand in hand. I mean, those
Yeah.
fucking bogtron potato eating spud pricks.
So like,
Jesus
it was one of those.
I'm gonna
things
get
that, like,
bombed.
I'm like, oh, like we're just like we're all talking and stuff, and we're like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, oh, we're just like, like we're all a bunch of nicknames around here, right? He's like, what the fuck did you just say? I'm like, bunch of nicknames. He's like, oh shit, I thought you called me a Mick for a second. I'm like, how the fuck did you think I called you a Mick when I said nicknames?
Because he wanted attention. That's what that was.
Clean the potatoes out of your ears.
Well, these Irish, they want to fight. Listen, show me
Show me an Irishman from like most of New England, and I'll show you a man who could probably at least have a decent bar fight.
Perhaps.
I do vehemently try
So
to
we have a
avoid New England. I
question
just
in
can't.
chat.
So question
Yeah.
to Ben
Mm.
is the 16-inch AR carbine more or less based than a 20-inch AR,
You guys aren't listening to
or
me. It's crazy.
a side folder AK?
I mean, a 16-inch is like the jack of all trades, master of none as far as ARs go.
Go with longer barrel because it's based. Have a folding
All right,
stock.
boys, we got a question in the chat. How do you think it would be if the U.S. winds up having martial law one of these days? Like, I can't even imagine how that would go down.
I mean, that's
Probably
happened
would-
in parts of the country
can
a lot.
we
Like,
figure out a context?
oh, good example would be New
So
Orleans.
okay, the last
post
time
Katrina.
martial law was declared would be like a hurricane emergency, right?
Mhm.
let's just plot it down to at least a region and like a reason. That way, it's a little easier to like have the conversation because it's very broad how things are handled. Like, yeah, there's martial law, but like martial law for hurricanes different than martial law for like fucking riots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Terry, give us a little a specific scenario.
Yeah, just
we'll get back to that.
say a region doesn't have to be
We'll
state.
circle
Just say
back.
like the Southwest, New England, fucking Bible Belt, wherever, and like say it's a disease and worlding plague, fucking food rights, who knows, whatever. Because I mean, during Hurricane Sandy in the New Jersey, New York metro area, we had like National Guard like at gas stations, like kind of like making sure people didn't fucking kill each other. Because, well, it's New Jersey and New York. We'll kill each other over fucking bacon, egg, and cheeses, all right? At the bodega, which I've seen someone get into a fight at a bodega over like a $1.98 bagel. Like,
Hey, man.
what are you, poor? You can't afford a $1.98 bagel? Go buy a fucking dollar ramen then.
That's
'cause
his bagel.
What was that British sandwich? The bacon eggers? The bacon and egg sandwich? Those
The
bacon,
bacon
eggers?
eggers.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa, about 12% of me got a little upset there.
Yeah,
12% or
Yeah.
60%?
the bacon and egger. Or
Oh.
whatever. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what. Oh my god, terrible. So, anyways, yes,
Oh, we've got 3 people who've entered into the
Discord,
the
right?
main entrance on the Discord.
Oh,
there was more. I just moved them through because they're from the quite frankly Discord. I already
Yeah,
see
I
them
mean,
around,
we
so I went-
tell them to go in the fucking waiting room. I mean,
What
if they're
was-
bots or fucking assholes, just a 2-second process
was
to just be like,
funny-
get fucked.
is Napkin who joined up. He's like, oh, like I thought I had I thought I'd approved myself or whatever. I'm like, well, you don't know Yimra, so you can't really answer the entry questions, so I'm just gonna wave you through. Just gonna wave you through.
Yeah, because nobody decided to be like, hey, can we get Yimra in? And it's kind of I don't know. I would have ruined that podcast in about 10 seconds or less with the grimace question. A true philosophical
Yeah, I
deep
told Frank
piece.
beforehand to ignore you when you came in. I'm just kidding. Could you imagine?
To be fair, that'd be even just as funny where I just stand there once in a while and be like, Grimace. Grimace is
Dude,
crusty.
if my night wasn't so like, because so I was leading up like this week. Like I took off work all week to like work on my family room and shit like that. Like that's why I got like this shit behind me, or whatever, just from that room. But like I was working at like trying to get the kids in a routine to where I can make it on time. And
Yeah.
I barely fucking made it. And then like, well,
Give
my
your kids
newborn-
Benadryl.
Like, dude, I gave them each a bottle, and they didn't go to sleep. It was the
Also,
opposite
also
effect. I was
hello
kidding.
Dip
to
your
whoever
thumb
just
in a
joined.
whiskey and then just rub it on their gums.
Yeah, my uncle does that when I was 7, but that's beside the point. I could not laugh at that joke. That's just mean.
Yeah, it was like I was hoping because I'm like this podcast I'm on right now with you guys. Like I could leave it whenever. I can walk
Yeah.
away. I don't really care. But I'm like I wanted to be there for like all questions and stuff. But of course, I mean, like no fault of my daughter, right? Like she's just gassy.
I don't know why I thought you
high
only
all
had
the time.
boys for some reason. I just forgot
Finally
the
got
daughter.
a girl, dude. Finally got one.
I think you said that,
ago.
and
Yeah.
and I've just I'm so self-centered lately. I just don't remember shit like that.
Yeah,
Just
so
in my protagonist
my
era.
child
And by that I
army
mean the
is
the sad
complete.
part of it.
So we're good. We're good. I mean, well, my wife keeps like flipping the switch on like if I should get a vasectomy or not. Because
Mhm.
she was like first like, what if something happens and we need to replace the child? I was like, whoa, hey,
It is the 21st century.
Put some boys on ice.
no, she didn't say anything like that. She was like, I'm just afraid like it's like I want 4 kids, whatever, and all that. She's like, just wait 2 years, okay. And then she's like, oh, you just get it now. She's like, I'm over that fear. You can get it. And then she was like, yeah, well, and then now she's like, well, the kids are young. What if you get a vasectomy and one of them like punches you right in the sack? And she's like, maybe you should just hold off. Dude, my brother got a vasectomy and his sack was swollen as fuck.
You
I
can
looked
you can also
personally-
undo a vasectomy if I remember right. Anyways.
Yeah, you can.
You
Yeah.
can.
So like,
Universal.
what's the
Kind of
real loss or
vasectomy
gain?
that you can undo, but like,
Well,
yeah, if
just
it-
do the one
if
you
they
can
do
undo, asshole. Or even better yet, there's other
vasectomies are better.
holes, and
I think
I mean, you're a connoisseur of the toes, so I mean, just bust there, forehead, clap.
dude, my pull-up
This
game's
fucking
strong.
guy. This fucking guy.
My pull-up game's strong. No, because the vasectomy, like, I think the only potential issues like are like testicular cysts or something. Because like, I think a friend of the show, Lauren, like must be like, don't get a vasectomy, like whatever. I'm like, well, the alternative would be my wife getting the fucking, I think a hysterectomy is the word for it.
yeah,
like,
no,
like,
let
that
the
fucks up
guy
whole-
take the
like,
alpha
that
once.
fucks
They
up
got
her
enough
whole
shit going
system.
on.
Like a female sterilization thing is completely fucks up the system. I'm like, I'd rather
Yeah.
risk testicular
Yeah.
cysts.
No,
at
I
the age of
have
34.
a lot of my like male family members have gotten like vasectomies after they had like a certain amount of kids, and they have like, I mean, it's not like they're venting about their ball sack problems, but I mean, we definitely hear about it because we have like family that are medical where they'd be like, yeah, he visited our office because his balls had cysts because there's a bunch of Italians, so like we definitely hear about that shit. We love fucking just shooting this shit with all kinds of stupid nonsense. I have never heard of, at least in my personal life, anyone getting a vasectomy
Oh,
and
I
having
like-
really negatives.
So JC brought up the alternative as the trad Catholic option, and I joked with my fucking wife the other day. I was, what the fuck did I say? She was like, because she's healing, right? Because like after you deliver a baby, you're not supposed to have sex and stuff. She'll let that shit snap back, heal up any tears, all that stuff, like heal up. Like usually about 6 weeks. So she was like, oh yeah, soon we'll be able to have sex. I'm like, we don't need to have sex anymore. We already have all the kids we need. She's like, I'm not that type of Catholic. I'm like, I'm divorcing you right now. How dare you?
We're not having sex. We're living with each other till we get old and die.
Yeah.
It's like that
So what are you
Last of
talking
Us
about?
episode. Oh fuck! You guys seen the show yet?
What show?
Last of Us.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I've been watching it.
Have you seen episode 3?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
I'm gonna be honest.
I have not, but I've watched. Like
You-
literally, my best friend in college. I just watched him
Mhm.
play the entire game.
Okay, well, I'm talking about the show, and
I'm not gonna go on too much about it, but fuck, that episode was fucking good. Like
Of
it,
course,
like.
you thought it was good.
Well, it's not even that. To be fair, I almost wish they handled
Because
the.
it's gay.
It was
Because
more
it's
of just. It was
gay.
just so. It was just sweet. It was just cute, and I was like, oh,
I want to have a bunker and be a DILF.
To me, it was good. Like I liked it.
There is a
expanded
point
story.
to that episode that people are
I
kind of
do
ignoring.
get I do get that people are upset about the whole gay thing. Whatever.
Well, the
fine.
character was gay from the game.
Yeah,
like that
I
was a
know.
fact.
Well, yeah, I know. I played the game. I played the game
Yeah.
multiple times. But because I like some of the comments he made, like they're like the government's all Nazis and his like boyfriend or husband or whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
Was like, yeah, but they weren't then. I was like, I'm out, dude. I turn off the episode. I was like, I'm done. How dare you? Not. Well, that's the thing. Well, because if you think about it, I know it's not realistic with yet with the fungus infecting everybody and shit, but it's like it'll probably an apocalypse will happen of some sort, and people will be like, yeah, like the government's fascist now because of the apocalypse, but they were totally sweet beforehand. I'm like, are you infected with the fungus?
That's more of yet again. This is where I have to come in with my usual thing is like the average person is not thinking as much about politics or the government as we are, or if they are, it's from such a propagandized point, be it left or right leaning, be it Fox News or CNN, where there's an enemy and there's a good part of the government.
Most people are thinking about politics to the extent that it matters for themselves, right?
Yeah, which is
whatever
I
affects
vote for
them
this because this
specifically.
guy says this one thing I like, and that's the end all be all. Voting season happens, they get fucking riled up at most, and that's still an older demographic. You say my age group, outside of like social media tryhards, their understanding of politics is not the best, but that's not really saying much as far as the older demographic too, which is also their understanding of politics is not the best because pretending that any president has been good anytime was it Noam Chomsky who pretty much there's an interview where he just roasted every fucking president since like 1945, even though he was like, yeah, even before them they're pretty awful, but like every single one would be tried for like crimes at The Hague, which is
Oh yeah, no,
tough.
I loved that interview with fucking.
That interview is great.
That's
I sent it to
so
somebody and they're
amazing.
like, there's a lot with me. I gotta poor Noam Chomsky though. I think he just does goes to like colleges now, just does like awkward interviews where it's just leave this old
No,
beautiful man
he's a
die.
shadow of himself because he used to be the most prominent anarchist in the United States.
I mean, he
the
still has a
world.
very left leaning compared to us, though. I think we could say that.
No,
Man.
he's always been a left anarchist, but
Yeah.
he has always been like the
He
anarchist.
is
in
he's a true anarchist in like
published-
that classical sense of like fucking not Black Hand, but fucking throw a fucking Molotov at Parliament and do your own other shit.
But the thing was, like, he was like a PhD who would get interviews on PBS or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, I am an anarchist. I believe in the absence of a state, and the U.S. government is manufacturing consent via a limited view of opinions
we're getting
on
so technical now. Oh boy.
this stuff. And no, he had a specific academic view of how the state operates on his main contribution, which I love. He's the best on manufactured consent, which is to say that there's a 3x5 card of allowable opinion, which is like we can debate whether income tax should be a top rate of 35% or 29%. But you're never allowed to discuss why is our income tax being used to bomb children in Yemen, right? Like that's outside of the question in anarchist opinion. Like Noam Chomsky was great for that. Like I think he was amazing, and there's nothing I will say bad about Noam Chomsky because he did that for 40 years. And I know he's still alive and he says kind of silly things about election integrity and stuff like that, but like who cares?
Listen, yeah, I was gonna say you also can't agree with that's why it's like I never have myself beholden to following any specific thing because fuck, that's fucking retarded kind of sometimes.
I like how
That-
I just asked the chat real quick. I just asked the chat, like the people from Frank's show coming over to watch tonight. I'm like, oh yeah, like anyone from Frank's show that actually watched us on there, like what did you like? What'd you hate? Like, oh no, like no hate. Like one person was like no hate. Someone else was like no hate ever. I'm like, yeah, the people that hated the fucking shit is probably not here right now.
They're
Yeah,
not here.
I actually
Cowards.
hate taking polls and taking surveys. Actually, I hate surveys. 1%, on
Alright.
there.
Let me
Kinda
give
shit.
the breakdown for the new people. The top left
Wait,
is
wait,
Based
bef-
Heisenberg. Hold on,
Oh.
just naming it off. Based Heisenberg, top left. Max and Caparato, top right. Moonlit Matt, bottom left. Bottom right. Yimra, the twink / otter. That's it.
fucking
There you go.
bisexual, bro.
Bisexual. I got
I got the fucking shit here, dog.
Why am I the one that had to introduce the term otter to this podcast, though?
Why
I'm not
do you
on
want me
the
to
internet as much as you,
commit
apparently.
extreme violence? Also, wait, should we could we get people joining in through the main entrance? By the way, and yet again, I don't know if his podcast has ended, but we haven't had anybody try to jump into here as far as like taking calls. We should kind of
Well,
see about that, right?
Because some of the people that joined in the Discord, our Discord, I don't think like actually just call in. They just like watching Frank's show.
Mm.
Yeah.
They can correct me on that. I think they're just like to watch or whatever. Like if they want to call in,
They
can.
like
Just
to
I mean,
watch.
I just think it'd be fun to have a guest or two just from Frank's show, or if Frank can
No,
come.
it-
I don't know if
I-
Frank's
I-
gonna
I
be able
wanna-
to join. You think he's gonna come home and he'd watch some of our shit? I don't remember.
Here's the thing: Frank's being polite to us, and then it's like I want one of his just average Joe audience members who's angry at us to call in and just
Yeah,
be
someone
like,
DM Frank.
what
and
what
tell
are
me
you
one of his-
upset about? Like, I want to
Yeah.
know.
Dude, the
Mm.
chat was hilarious because when I started bringing up anarchist societies or whatever, there was one person that said, "Oh, so you guys can't name any?" And I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
What?" And then there's another person like, "Oh, so you want us to go back to tribes?" I'm like, "We're kind of tribes right now, in a broader sense, I guess."
What is
People who live terminally online don't realize it, right? But
Mm.
like, yeah, you are completely part of the
what are literal gangs? If not a very violent extreme version of what a tribe is.
what is not say even what's even be internet very online? What is a fandom but not a cringy tribe? The people who are fans of Gossip Girl, are they not the internet's cringy version of a tribe? Which, by the way, is a terrible show. And I watched some of Gossip Girl, the Hamptons episodes, and I wanted to kill myself because one, I've worked in the Hamptons, and I fucking hate that place so fucking much. And two, the main guy who's like so swarthy and like sexual, and like he does that little Clint Eastwood thing where he squints his eyes the whole time. Fucking can't dress for shit, even in the early 2000s. Fuck Gossip Girl, by the way. I listen. Sex in the City is probably better. I've never watched it. I know I'm derailing the conversation again. Grimace.
It's Grimace,
Well,
dude. Do
here's-
not do
here's the
Grimace
problem
thing
with-
right now,
with-
please.
McDonald's. They switched from beef tallow to soybean oil in the early 90s, and we need to go back. We
Listen,
need
you're
to-
whoa. If you're getting McDonald's, you're already taking the L. Let's be honest here. It's not a Five Guys. It's not even a Wendy's. At least a Wendy's tries to make some good shit. You know what I'm saying? McDonald's, what have they brought to the table in the last 5 years that fucks outside of the McRib? Come on. Like, let's be honest here. Let's be real with
Listen,
ourselves.
we cannot
you're talking
discount
about
the
taste.
McRib.
Like when you get addicted, or sorry, when you subvert your addiction to seed oils, and you start to realize what real food tastes like you can never eat at McDonald's.
I mean, you say that, but I do be getting my friend's fresh cut venison after he gets a kill with fucking Parmesan on it and the fucking red sauce, and that shit's bussin'. The dude should make me shit piss and
the
cum.
seed oil free meal will taste amazing to you, of
Yeah.
course. But like I'm saying, like once you like subvert seed oil meals, soybean corn oil, whatever the fucking shit.
We're
they put
allowing
in.
olive oil for obvious reasons, or I will kill
No,
someone.
course.
olive oil is of
If-
course.
yeah,
you
I'm
will.
about to say if someone says olive oil counts, I'm literally finding where they live and becoming
No,
a
we're-
problem to the
we're-
law enforcement community there.
The good oils to cook with are butter and ghee and tallow and lard and olive oil and palm oil and
How
peanut
about
oil
sunflower
and
oil?
avocado oil.
I'm curious on
sunflower Sunflower oil's out of the question.
I haven't ever like tried it, but I was curious.
No, you'll
Like,
see.
bi-curious.
They add this shit to our food for no fucking reason. It's
Just to kill us.
absolutely-
Well, there was the whole corn
ridiculous.
subsidy in like the fucking 80s, if I remember right. That's the one thing I remember.
It's not just the 80s. It's today. It's
Well, no, I know.
all
I mean, it's when it
shit.
started. Was like the 80s, wasn't it, or
Yeah.
70s?
No,
So-
all,
I don't remember. I
all
don't-
the shit today.
Gentlemen,
farm.
gentlemen, real quick, and I think this would be one of the things that we can use as kind of like a topper. Gimra, we've had several people in the chat who are requesting that whatever viewers are coming over from Frank right now get an education with the Grussy and Grimace.
Oh god.
Oh, to all 19 viewers.
Let me.
1 second. I'm not gonna shotgun this because these are high
Strap
names and I'm
yourselves
loaded.
in, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to change your
Okay.
life.
Ken, after this segment, my gal pal, my girlfriend, was asking if she could do a segment each episode that is a non-anarchist asks a question about or two anarchists.
Yeah, that's actually that's
Yeah, sure.
That's,
That's-
a good
no,
idea.
that's- I think
Is
that's
she
an interesting point.
libertarian, conservative,
Cool.
socialist? They them.
She is a reformed kind of. She doesn't know what to believe anymore.
That's the best
That's a
kind
good
of
start.
person because
Start.
She's disenfranchised from being a Democrat, basically.
okay.
She doesn't trust the Democrats, basically.
Well, you know what?
anymore,
We could
and-
we could work because here's my philosophy: is working people because like I don't believe you can convince people to be anarchists. I think you can convince them to be libertarians. So from her for being a reformed Democrat, I think you could work her to being a like a left libertarian or left anarchist or a mutualist maybe perhaps. But here, I'll be right back. You guys keep going.
Oh, I had a burp.
Okay,
I
no,
didn't-
do the Grussy explanation.
Yeah,
and
we
then-
need the
and then
Grimace
we'll
and the
do
Grussy. Send it.
our female exploration of libertarian philosophy.
Okay, yeah. So Grimace is basically, as we know, a McDonald's mascot. Grimace identifies as a male, but sexual organs are female. This is more of Grimace's preferences. And what Grimace is a
Beautiful person with a great soul who
Has a pussy that, or a Grussy, if you're so inclined, which I'm inclined to say,
is like
finding inner peace.
Grussy is like if cocaine could give you a blowjob and
Tell you everything's gonna be okay. It is a serenity. It is inner beauty. It is, all your chakras getting fucking aligned. It is
everything that you needed that you didn't know you had. It is that soft kiss on your cheek
at that right time. It is a dance in the halls in front of all your betrothed. It is a ceremony of love and life all in one moment, all down to this McRib flavored fucking fat fucking offensively thick coochie. This juicy, almost numbingly intense pussy.
Are we talking like watery juicy? Are we talking like a molasses?
It doesn't
type,
matter the
like-
consistency. No matter what you go down, you
Oh.
don't want to leave. You might as well get a fucking belt and handcuffs and strap me to it because I'm not fucking going.
It's like Velveeta.
You gotta
cheese.
call the National Guard. You gotta call the fucking police department. You gotta get the Jaws of Life to get me off of that fucking Grussy. Grussy is what you live for. Grussy is what you need. Grussy is what all I have left. I could be making $1 million, but Grussy is what is to be had. Grussy is like religion, but if religion could make you come, okay? If Allah or I'm going to hell, but if Allah or God or whatever fucking bazillion gods in Hinduism that pretty base, not gonna lie, good job Hinduism for fucking maxing out that shit.
could make you fucking shoot your Piscadell with a fucking rope that you wouldn't believe, a rope that could probably save everyone from the Titanic if they got on top of the iceberg. You know, that kind of shit. Grussie is a very important thing to this podcast and to me. Grussie is a big lad with a fat pussy and rolls like a fucking bakery. And if you're going to be watching this podcast, you're going to have to get used to hearing about this, because about once every time I'm on is where I start doing a fucking monologue about Grussie, where I literally, my throat hurts just talking about it because I'm missing it. Have you ever had a scratch you couldn't itch? You ever missed a person you can't have? You ever, tasted a food that can't be cooked again? A restaurant closed down. They had the perfect filet mignon. It's like that, but it's every day. I don't have that Grussie. Every day, and it is something to be had.
It just ages me a little bit more every time.
And every time it's like skydiving. You've never felt more alive. You almost don't want to pull the chute because you get to see the serenity of the earth and the roundness of it as you look at whatever you're dropping from, and you get to see the earth in this different context, this beauty, this distance, this air wishing behind your fucking, through your hair and your ears, and the whistling of the fucking right in there.
We're talking about
You get to feel your
skydiving or Grussie?
skin. Both. Skydiving is like Grussie. It's that serenity of that cold air upon your face as you start going closer and closer to the earth. But maybe you don't want to pull that chute. Maybe that chute doesn't need to be pulled because you can keep floating like this forever. But you have to pull the chute because you don't want to fucking die. But Grussie's like that. It's exactly like that.
Okay,
You know?
well, I hope everyone is now thoroughly educated on the Grussie. And for those of you who missed that, you're going to want to go back and listen to that again, because that is knowledge absolutely worth getting rid of other thoughts in your brain for. 100%.
Do you want to try and stick around for a couple minutes and see if my non-libertarian gal pal can diversify?
You can just say partner, and it doesn't have to be gay.
You could say property too if you want to make a joke, but
my
I understand
property.
Yes.
I don't like that. It's too low bar. You're better than that.
Yeah, well,
You got a fucking college education, bro. You're better than that.
yeah, that's why it's funny. I'm extra educated, which makes it funnier that I am more adequately sexist than racist. I went to school to learn to be more accurately racist and sexist.
Okay, she says that she doesn't have the app on her phone.
Oh.
You can
And
download it.
is-
Hello? Forehead
She's
clap.
blocks from her car and her phone is about to die.
Okay.
Okay, can we see about
Well,
some other
maybe
guests that
we
could
can
have on,
do
maybe?
that. That could be an episode, actually. Maybe we could get some of the Goyles from...
Well, no, she thought it would be funny if it was a recurring segment where it was like
Okay.
the
I
non-libertarian.
mean, you're already an interloper, you fucking motherfucker, Oedipus. I'm kidding.
Well, okay.
You got 40 rounds. It's not like I can really talk tough. I don't even got to play carry at the moment.
Okay, yeah, sure. So, okay, her question is, would you use your own son's stem cells to regrow your foreskin if you could?
No.
No.
No. Listen, I got so much scar tissue on my Piscadella as is. It really
Respect.
doesn't matter anymore.
Okay, Max, I do not mean this to be disrespectful, but like, what in the blue fuck does that have to do with anarchism or like what?
The stem cells usually are coming from abortions? I don't know.
Right,
Is that
okay,
the
but
part?
I just like, it seems like there's a lot of logical leaps and steps that went to that question. Like there's a lot of buildup we didn't get.
No, I like that. It's like a movie
I
scene.
think the question was like, yeah, okay, if your child is your property and you can harvest their stem cells from them.
I don't like that.
Let's
I don't-
ask
I don't
the,
think that's a
um,
good opinion to have. That
now
sounds
that the
awful.
only person of this podcast who has kids is here, Matt.
Yes.
Max,
Well, that
ask,
we know
ask the
of.
question.
That we know of. We should put that asterisk for all you fuckers.
Dude, that was the funny thing on the fucking. I did that shitty green screen, right? And I fucking had to hold my daughter, and it was glitching the fuck out. So like her head was disappearing. We were like, "Is that a fake baby?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's fake
It's
AI
fake
baby,
AG
fake sounds and
CGI
shit.
baby.
CGI."
Yeah, we got that Twilight baby.
So hold on,
Not-
real quick. So Max,
Yeah, yeah.
read the question
Oh,
again to
never
Matt,
mind.
so Matt can give his parental
No,
answer.
no, it's okay. We can probably just kill ourselves instead. It's
Moonlit
okay.
Matt.
Yeah.
The question from my non-libertarian girlfriend is: would you use your son's stem cells to regrow your foreskin if you could?
No, because they have a foreskin restorer already on the market. It pulls your skin out to restore it. So why would I use stem cells?
Okay.
And I could do
Alright.
that right now, but I choose not to because I like coming fast. Because my wife doesn't deserve to come. Thank
Mm.
you.
You guys
Robert.
come?
Just kidding.
I-
You guys are coming.
No. I mean, unironically, I've been having a pretty. Actually, I probably should talk about that. On
I was
podcast
about to
right
say
now,
that
though.
we're not turning into the Yimra has ED discussion. We're gonna skip that.
Oh no, it's not ED.
Oh,
It's
like-
just I just don't come, dog.
Bro, like
Just don't come.
of all the male problems to have, I'm sorry,
Bro,
that's
yeah.
unfortunate.
Your balls must be the size of grapefruits.
Bro, it's like either I'm like a 5-minute guy or like 3 hours, and I'm still like having to like just suffer.
It's because you're
And
anxious.
usually it's the latter. And it's not even like a cool guy
Just
fun
get
thing where it's
good.
like, oh yeah,
Just stop
oh yeah,
being
like I
bad
can go
at
for a
nutting.
while. It's like no, I can go on forever. It's like
Just get good.
Bro,
That's
I'm
a skill
Ask her
issue.
to Kegel more.
no, I'm Sisyphus, bro. I'm rolling my cum boulder up the hill only for it to go down again before I could get it to the top and bust.
Maybe have her talk like a man. Maybe that'll do it.
So I
That won't
walked
work.
away
I don't.
to make my
no,
wife
I
a
want
sandwich.
that New
Didn't
Jersey
even
girl
make it right
accent,
for her. I'm
dog.
terrible.
Everyone knows a New Jersey girl accent is the best girl accent. Let's be honest here. Can we agree on that? Like-
No,
like
New Jersey.
Oh,
my
you have
cousin
So
Vinny?
many bad opinions.
My cousin Vinny, the girl from my cousin Vinny, that accent. Come on. No, am I alone on this? Should I kill
don't-
myself?
you
Don't
know
answer
what? I
that.
don't
You
want the
shouldn't
news,
kill
like-
yourself.
You know what?
But
Yeah, like I would hit it, but I wouldn't stay with it. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
word. We would hit it and quit it.
I think it's just because I'm too greased out. It's like it's like a chicken pot pie. It's just so welcoming for me to hear some fucking Jersey fucking rat fucking roast.
Yimra, have you ever fucked a chicken pot pie?
The KFC chicken pot pies count?
Yes.
Maybe.
All right.
Is this gonna be an extended episode to make up for my lost hour with you fucking assholes?
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
May not that extended.
I was only here for like 5 minutes, so we could.
Yeah, I
extend
mean,
everything out there.
there were so many topics I wish I could actually jump into because usually you guys will talk about stuff where it's like, even if I don't agree, it's like I'm just not going to add anything outside of a joke.
I like that Frank like invited everyone except Yimra.
Yeah, I wasn't
Like-
named him. It
Yeah.
was pretty fucked up. He was like, yeah, like it's like all right, I have
It's because you
1.6
can
million
only
views
have
somewhere.
One
Okay,
Italian per podcast.
Here's an idea for anarcho like property rights. Could you steal your this is coming from my girlfriend. She just texted me. Would you steal your son's foreskin and graft it onto you?
No.
No,
No.
what?
What?
No. If
What the
anyone
hell?
does that,
All right.
no.
Why is your girlfriend so obsessed with
Where
foreskin?
is
First
she?
of all,
In your house right now.
yeah, go beat her.
And
Go bring
Well,
her in fucking front of that mic. I want to hear it fucking from her mouth right now.
Jesus.
I mean,
What
this
if
is-
you
well, to be
rode
fair-
out into a lake and the dude who rode you
So-
out there
so
said he needed
when-
your foreskin in order to
Bro.
get back to shore? Like, stop.
Wait, everyone shut the fuck up. Max, have you talked to her about ANCAP beliefs? Because none of my boys are circumcised. Because that is their choice to make later on in life. So why the
no,
fuck?
exactly. She's
I cut it for
anti-circumcision.
me?
She is just saying she's trying to understand child-parent relations. Okay, is I think what
The
it comes
parent-
down to.
Especially in the current system, right? Like people will be like, "Oh, like you can't like I made I made a joke like the common
She
joke."
just texted me. She's like, I was listening in. and they said it was not an anarchist question, and I didn't know that that was the bit.
Oh, oh,
What?
She just knows that
What?
I'm obsessed with like circumcision.
that's
Yeah.
something you probably shouldn't tell anybody except for
What
your
is-
significant other. I'll be honest. If that's the case, I mean, would you like to find out if I'm cut or not, bro?
Yeah, send me pics later, bro. No problem.
Don't worry.
And
I hope you
drive
guys
here.
like
I'll
being
send- I'll
let
send you my
down
address.
because it's all hair.
Sweet.
No, don't send it. Don't send it. Clean it up.
I'll do butthole. I know you want butthole. That's what you're gonna be getting
No,
anyways.
so like I would get because I made the like one of my more famous posts was about how you like the animals are property and you can kill them if you want, right? Like, and people got very upset about that. But I'm like, I'm not advocating you go fucking like buy puppies and kill them. But some people are like, you don't believe. Like, no, if every animal I've owned, I've treated very lovingly. I fed those fat little fucks, and they're good. I never abused an animal yet. After some Tumblr responses from people, I might start. But no, it's like I'm not saying like whatever, but like, but they're technically property, like they don't have rights. And some people come back with like, oh, I would hate to hear that you had kids. I'm like, oh, buddy,
Well, guess what,
Bad news
buddy?
Not only have I had one, I've had several,
But-
and I'm actually a decent parent.
yeah, I think I'm doing
It's,
pretty okay.
I mean, to be fair, like a lot of the stuff we talk about is like usually where I'm sitting here and I'm listening. It's like, yeah, like by the ideology set, yeah, you can do this and that, but like just basic empathy, like not most, but a decent amount of people, if they're raised right, and that's subjective. Obviously, what is being raised right with morals, and be it from a religion or just a basic understanding of like just whatever, maybe not basic, but maybe a more whatever. But then like certain ideologies, like say and cap stuff, is like empathy is a little more lacking in some cases, where it's like
oh
it's
no,
not as
it is. Let me stop you right there.
Yeah,
It's
no, go ahead.
lacking from the more vocal Tumblr anarchists.
yes, if especially if you're analytical about it. Like I always say, like in an ANCAP society, if I was to be in one, I would definitely be one of the fucking, I guess, idiots in some people's cases, where I'd be like, I'm definitely deal with charities, like, because I just I've worked in too many charities, and I work and live around in New York City, and also some parts of New Jersey, where it's like I've seen too much shit where I'm like I can't ignore like the fucking plight of others, but some people just it's all about money, and I don't blame them necessarily, but there's a certain evilness that kind of comes with only caring about profits, where you're just not a human being, you're a number counter, and maybe part of the tribe of Ben.
Now.
That's gonna be my one
Well,
Jewish joke.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. I don't. I think in like this is in my head, of course, and but this is going off. Like I think the United States is the most charitable country there is. I think. Don't hold me to that.
I
No,
think
that's
technically-
actually true. Like
It might-
that's
I'm about to say it's
Okay.
technically true, but some of those charities are a fucking scam, or like a lot of
Yeah,
profits
yeah,
go
yeah.
to it. It's kind of like how like for example, like Red Cross, Red Crescent, and Red Star are probably, because they're not part of a country specifically, they're kind of supposed to be their own thing. Probably the most charitable, but they're not part of a country, so I guess the statistic might kind of fall by the wayside.
Mhm.
The U.S. has the most charities, because we do live in a country that's kind of been protected in a lot of senses, that we kind of can afford, and or we have the infrastructure, or we had the internet early on, for example, to start like certain programs and companies and so on, to have like say for specifically like say like I have a family member with MS, like there's programs and charities for MS. I worked for a foundation that specifically was around kids who are pretty much destined to not live very long or lived in very bad homes, where it's like there's very specific charities here, and I'm sure there are ones over in other countries, but there are very small scale charities that reap a lot of benefits because of just people are able to afford to spend that money, not just rich people, but it's funny enough when people who have less money will give more money, or at least meaningfully do more than excuse me, a rich jackhole or rich company will donate, but then you have to go to the fucking takeout line or whatever at like I don't know, CVS. Like, you want to donate $1.69 to fucking children? It's like, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
So I usually
mean-
round up every time I go a place like Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Well, like when I get ice cream with the boys, and soon to be Nina when she's old enough to take some ice cream. Like I always run up just cause like whatever, like always like add more to it. But the main thing to me is a lot of people got to ask themselves is, are most people good or bad?
Mhm.
Right? So like if most people are good, no government's needed because most people won't do harm, right? And you can go to some sort of like anarchy flavor we were talking about last night, right? Like anarchy flavor. Well, actually, before I get into that, very important. The problem with the anarchy comparisons a lot of people make is a lot of these quote unquote anarchy places that people point to as like this is a failure is because it collapsed. We can't go from collapse to anarchy. Like it has to be
Also,
some
no
sort of
no society has survived a very long time in full technicality without transforming to something else. It's just a fact of the
like
matter.
for
That's just
the event of
humanity.
a
That's not even
collapse,
an ideology or
the
what works the
anarchy
best. You know.
yeah, like that whatever anarchist society comes about in the form of a collapse won't survive because that's just like whatever power vacuum you want to call it. That, but there's like other Celtic Ireland or whatever, like they were just
Somalia, if you want to be an
like
asshole.
they lasted I think I think it was like 1,000 years. Well, Somalia's funny
Somalia's
to
a
me.
decent example, but it's also not the best considering the
No.
living situation of the average person
Well,
there.
Somalia is funny because people bring that up, but they actually improved a lot of point. Like there was a case study done for
I don't think
Somalia.
there's any aspect of Somali life, food, education, internet access, etc., that decreased during the anarchist period of Somalia.
It's more of it's not exactly a good life to be had. The living
Oh no,
situation.
yeah, no, we're not saying that. No, the
That
case study
yeah, I
basically
mean
said
you can
from
argue other
government.
parts of that, but
The case
this
study
is more
basically
of
looked
that.
at
You know what I mean?
how everyone was living under the government they had,
Oh no, but we're yet again
and
you'll
then
be like,
to
okay, well it's a
whatever.
former
Like
colony country.
they had
Where it's not
they
a
had
good time.
increased on 14 of 18 points of like good or bad like sections like education, healthcare, like whatever, blah blah blah. Like they had increased after the government fell. But the study also brought up that like that's not to say that like if that happened here in the United States that the same thing would happen, that it would increase. Like that's it, because it's subjective, of course, because they had a really shitty fucking government. Like it's like you're already at rock bottom, it's not hard to go up type beat. So I'm not saying whatever, but like you have to normally with like a collapse, and Ben's saying I don't know what that means. Is that 10 minutes? Ben, you could just say that.
It's
that you gotta
just
go.
I didn't want to interrupt. I'm just saying no.
Yeah, you can
I
just say
gotta-
that. I mean,
yeah.
dude, it's your show, bro. Just fucking say it.
Dude.
yeah, you're the one technically hosting. That's why I was saying like maybe transferred. I don't know how this works. I'm not very good.
I mean, I could transfer it if you guys want to talk a little bit, but I mean, it's like
I'm pretty lonely and I'm pretty bored, and I was vomiting fish fillet this morning, so
good
Damn.
for you.
Word.
I also missed out on bringing up Grussie to 1,000 people, so I'm pretty livid.
So Matt, yeah, can you transfer? Like, how do we transfer it?
I could do it in a second. Hold on. Let me make
I
sure.
guess we'll stop for like 2 seconds, or is it just like a seamless thing? I'm kind of curious how that works.
It'll be seamless. It should be.
Damn, no seam, but except on my scrotum.
Because mine should take over.
Yeah.
If it does that.
Okay.
Like I should literally flip on the screen when that happens.
Yeah, I think also with anarchism, be it in or really any type of stateless or governmentless thing, is not that the government is beholden to letting people do whatever they want. Obviously, people can still do whatever they want. I think it's just depending on the flavor of what's happening to cause that or let that happen, and or just how things are handled with said institutions that do exist is a context to it, and the kind of people who are around for that. Say, for example, an apocalyptic scenario, like I'm a pretty empathetic person. I've definitely been an asshole. I've definitely lost more fights than I've won. I've definitely done some bad things or good things. But the second like someone I care about is threatened, like obviously I'm gonna do some wackadoo awful shit. And I'm a pretty soft guy, even though I have a TBI and a busted jaw and
I
fucked up
just
hands.
realized Ben's mouse cursor is on my part of the screen.
It's fucked up.
Oops.
He's trying to finger your mouth.
Yeah,
Um,
dude, like move it down to my
yeah.
like move it down to my butthole or my feet, bro. What are you doing?
But my point being is like I would say I'm someone who's dealt with as a victim of like violent actions, and I don't mean that in like a I don't know, like a weird way. Just more of like I've been in my fair share of like getting my ass kicked or robbed or taking the results, and I feel still bad for people who deserve it. But like the second someone I care about is threatened, like I'll feel bad about it later. I can't imagine like people who are more mentally prepared or like had a different childhood, like for that kind of stuff, and then they get into a society where sometimes it's more rewarding to actually be a piece of shit. In some cases, not always. It really depends on your flavor of anarchist society. There's different ANCAP and ANCOM and mutualist and yada 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 societies that might reward that behavior more, or depending on like what the reason is that we have said society. And I think that needs to be kind of examined a little closer, if we're going to have those kind of societies, because the people who will benefit from this, these societies, are people who are power grabbers and vacuum repairmen, so to speak. I mean, you could look at communist revolutions all over the place, or any type of, or the French, just the French in general. There's like 15 revolutions they had that were government to government, or one asshole just took all the power. Where it's like, eventually some asshole is going to give you that control that people want and need, even if they don't like it. It's safer, it's easier. It's why some people who are former communist states, it's not that they necessarily think communism is overall better, but there's such a consistency for them. And before, like we're talking about like a different era of the communism, not like Stalin shit, but like where like, yeah, life wasn't the best, but like I consistently kind of had like an life, instead of like capitalism where I could lose my job and I'm homeless now, and the U.S. is not going to help me with homelessness. Not that communists were much better, but there was some kind of acceptance of the consistent kind of, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that I feel like has to be discussed, like seriously, before we can really have that society happen. Because there are going to be those fucking psychos who are going to be
Oh,
conniving and scheming. You know what I mean?
yeah, like it's like I say like like an anarchist society will last for forever. Well, potentially forever. It'll be 1,000 years with the current state of things with like how governments are.
Thousand Year
Like
Reich.
yeah, that was.
Inshallah.
This is Swedish, not German, by the way. This is Swedish.
Yeah, right.
Uns Tina Schocken.
But just for shits and giggles, Ben.
Yes.
End your stream. Let's see if mine picks up.
All right, let's see what happens. Well, gentlemen, thank you. Oh, wait. My YouTube stream first. Okay, so now... Okay.
No, don't end a YouTube stream. End from your stream.
This is
Are
the one
you,
a few episodes.
Are you
Oh.
broadcasting?
Yeah, start broadcasting. Because for some reason it didn't pick up.
It's stalling out in the.
Oh no, it's good.
Oh,
It's good.
okay, it picked
Oh,
up. It picked
got
up.
it,
We're
you
good.
got it.
All right, we got
We're
it. We got
The
it. All right.
internet's kind of crappy,
Yeah.
but it's going.
This is
All
going
right.
to be one of the
Well,
few
it
episodes where I
says
actually
I've got-
bring up shit though.
I've got my performance metrics up, and it said that my quality was good. It said everything was good, no drop frames. I think it was just a weird, like, because of the disconnect, like the backup. I think it was because I think we both have it as primary right now,
Oh,
and it was just
okay.
one of those like fucked up like things. Like
Nerds.
if you don't have a backup for it on YouTube, it'll do that. So
Stutter.
Death Chilada
You just
says
say
last
stutter,
screen
it's
cap
fine.
after they dropped a Hellfire on our boys. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you ever saw.
we're done. So
I mean,
yeah, we got
it was
over.
funny. I can't legally talk too much about it, but the president was in New York recently, and it was pretty interesting to see how that works from a certain perspective of the logistics, so to speak. I literally don't think I can say very much onto it, but I've also been in DC and I've seen like how that works over there. It's like really fucking funny. And it's like, damn, there's all this effort, but it's also like you have the right fucking idiot at the right time. Like I'm kind of shocked sometimes how like scarily easy it is. I'm sure like there'd be some way to stop whatever, but there I think there's that weird reality of like there's always a hole or an opening for like no matter how much you plan,
and this isn't really just a statement about that, but this is more of just a realization where I had like, you can plan for fucking everything, but I remember a quote that every fucking grunt and fucking pogue will fucking bring up, as a army dropout loser who didn't get enough time to do anything cool, is no plan survives the enemy, aka some fucking Riri is going to be able to figure out or get lucky at some point. I don't necessarily mean that specifically with this president or any prior ones. I'm just saying there's a weird reality to every plan needs to have fluidity, including say our economic beliefs or social or political beliefs. There has to be a bit of fluidity. I always believed in a case by case basis because there are different contexts to a lot of shit. Like, say someone commits a certain crime, like there's a context of like this person could afford this, they were denied all these jobs, they had the background, and yeah, like you could always argue like, well, there's a piece of shit, they don't deserve it. It's like, yeah, but you let like a piece of shit who is connected get in, so blah blah blah. You know, there's all these other contexts, and it's like we kind of are beholden to these plans that we feel are so secure, and then reality hits the fucking windshield. Say, just on time shipping was perfect example with COVID. Just in time shipping, which
Yep.
meant that warehouses didn't be stocked as much, and that the entire economy was running on basically there was a 2 week or maybe slightly more, slightly less, depending on what kind of like trade or item they were selling or buying or holding on to. There was a window of time that they could hold on, like, oh, there's a delay here for a week or two. It's not a big deal. But the reality is no plan survives the enemy, aka someone's eventually gonna fuck your fucking shit up that you planned so well out that spaghetti-o, I still can't buy a car part without waiting 6 months, or the average person buying a car still has to wait 6 months and pre-order it like a fucking asshole. Oh, I gotta wait fucking half a year for a Mini Cooper. I think I would literally bomb someone.
You know what's funny to me about that? I wonder how much of that, why we were just on time shipping stuff was because of like just government tax. Well, because like for where I work, I'm in manufacturing currently, and you have to pay taxes on your unsold inventory. So everything you've got, like stock, like stainless steel sheets or whatever, like completed products, if those aren't sold, you have to pay taxes on them.
What?
Because that's income.
Wow.
Yeah, and that could,
and I think
sure there
that's
might be exceptions
why
for larger companies, though, I'd imagine, or
No.
some loophole.
No,
There's gotta be
no,
loopholes.
no. There's a
Like, what
loophole for smaller companies. Like I
Okay.
think they recently did something to where you can, the first I don't remember. The boss man was talking about it some months ago, and I was half listening because I was probably looking at Tumblr or something. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But he was saying like that my state had just did exemption for like a certain amount. Like to this point,
There's
you
a
don't have
cutoff point
there's
where it's like, if you got so much money,
if
who
you're
gives a shit?
under
Pay
this,
taxes.
you don't have to pay
Yeah.
taxes on it. But over that, like after that, like our taxes currently work or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you have to pay taxes on all the materials you have if they're unsold, because that's like whatever profit or shit, like it's money, like blah blah blah. It's bullshit. So that, to me, I might be wrong. I'll say that. I'll say it once twice in my life.
Yeah.
Is that's probably why we're just in time. Like they were just getting what they needed.
I'm sure for the U.S. maybe more specifically, sure, but just in time was just more convenient and cost effective for like stocking shit and not having to wait on resources, this and that. Where instead of ordering so much bulk and you have it all in the warehouse, that you have to get this even bigger warehouse. I'm going to use the car industry because that's the one I'm most familiar with. Like back in the day, it used to be you just order a fuck ton of everything and just fucking have it in a big ass warehouse, but it's not cost effective because not everybody needs a solenoid or a fucking lower control arm, So you have a very small amount of every item, and obviously the scale's a little larger with say like Toyota or some companies, but the idea is still there. Is that there is this scale and everything, and I'm almost going to throw up. 1 second. I'm still
Oh, yeah?
fish fillet
Still
still
doing
kind
it?
of trying
Still
to
doing it
get
up?
me.
Oh, jeez.
The fish fillet from last night is still. I'm like still sweating.
Just think of the Grussie.
I'm gonna
Think
drink
of the
this high
Grussie.
noon. That'll help.
Um,
All right. Well, he's choking
and
that
no,
back,
no,
gentlemen.
no, no.
Well, Ben's
okay, you
leaving,
get
so
outta
we're gonna give him
here.
the
That's
salute.
what's making me sick.
Love you, man.
um, yeah. So like at least like it's just because of how the scale, if I remember right, it's the scale of like the industry of shipping and everything is just it was just more cost effective to just you have a 2 weeks worth of supplies as backup, but in general a majority of your items are being sold and given away. I worked at one of the largest parts departments in a certain region in the New York, New Jersey metro area. I'm not gonna say which one because I don't want to dox myself too much.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just assume I'm somewhere over there. I'm everywhere. Fuck you.
I'm
But-
everywhere.
Our warehouse didn't really work on we didn't really do just on time before COVID. We had one of the largest warehouses. Half the shit was covered in dust and nobody fucking needed. And I was fucking coughing up a lung trying to go through the occasional shit. But when I worked at another dealership that had just on time before COVID, it was a lot better where everything was moving apart. Like there's when an economy is working and there isn't like a reason to stop, say a chip shortage or this, it works in such a way that's so cost effective for pretty much everybody involved. Where it's pretty much basically the best economy works in the sense of I work at a job, I get money, I spend that money at different businesses. The money's constantly flowing. That's the best way to make an economy. That's why like stupid, super level rich people are kind of fucking assholes because they hold on to so much of their shit and then fuck the economy up by not constantly having the revolving door of the money. You got $1 trillion, spend it somewhere that matters.
Why do you
Well,
think rich people are rich?
I mean, yeah,
Because
they have an investment.
Well, yeah, investments are good, but investments
If they
only
pull
affect
out
the
those
economy, but they don't
investments,
affect
it
the
would
average
crash
person
the
outside of
stock
negative.
market.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, there's obviously a duality to that statement where
Yeah.
you could say
All right,
yes,
just
obviously, like
just make sure you knew that.
no,
Just
I
a
know,
question.
I have
Like,
long
hey,
term, I do long term investing. I work with people, investors, and hardcore gamblers, and all that kind of stuff. I just think that money obviously does make a difference, but it makes mostly a difference until the economy goes very good or very bad. Let's be honest, though, for the average person, very bad is where it matters because a very good economy doesn't affect the average person. They're still getting fucked over by their bosses because bosses are assholes.
mm,
They'll see $30,000 in profit and still try to sue their own fucking union. Which happened, by the way. I had a boss who actually sued the car dealership company, not car dealership. I'm sorry, the car company, because they gave a bonus to all the like service guys who like fix the cars up, because he wanted that money. And I mean, there's probably an ANCAP car argument for that, but if you own a dealership, you're a fucking asshole. If you sue your own car, the company you fucking buy from because you got a bonus, but you didn't get the money. That's fucking stupid.
the
That's,
ANCAP
like, just
argument
being
would be the
greedy.
contract involved. Because of his contract involved that you're entitled to
That
bonuses,
specific
there's no
car
suing.
service union had a union, so by all means he should not have even attempted
Yeah,
that
so
shit because the union already has all these agreements.
Yeah, so the ANCAP argument would be that the contract was already in place.
Yeah,
The suing is frivolous, and any judge in a
and also there's something to
do
be
that.
said of like, do you not have enough money? Can you not want like, don't you want your workers to have more money so that they can yet again spend it, or save it for say a house, which then helps prop up the economy, right? My problem always is like a lot of people do kind of just sit on the money, and I understand that. There is just a discussion of like stocks are good. They obviously help boost companies up and give them the capital they need to get their job done. But also it's like, yeah, but why not just put it into like making more businesses that would like, I don't know, or charities or what have you. But it's more of just a personal thing where it's not like a fault of anybody. It's just more of like, well, like if I was like a decent human being, I wouldn't want to hold all my money so my great grandchild can be a fucking piece of shit and never work for a fucking thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, yeah, that, and but also because I don't know, I'm just devil's advocate maybe is what kind of taxes are on that profit, right? Like, what are you making? What's getting taxed out? Because like if he's getting $30,000, right, for example, what percentage of that is actually got to go to the federal government or the state government or both?
And that's where I will introduce that the IRS has been lobbied to the point that super rich people don't really pay the real taxes that they are technically supposed to. Same with like say TurboTax or those other companies
Yeah.
where they purposely made the language so difficult that they pretty much made their businesses more
Well,
valid.
Jeff Bezos, for example,
Yeah.
his salary was $80,000 a year. That was his salary. But
that's his
because
official, actual
of
salary.
government, the government tax code, right?
Mhm.
He was able to have like a security force. He was able to write off stuff, dinners and shit on
Yeah.
like an Amazon account,
Mhm.
right? Like it was a business expense. Oh, I'm tongue tied now apparently. So like he was able to make way more because of the
Mhm.
current government tax code that allowed it for the rich people, and obviously, but when you vote in people that can be bought, how are you going to change the tax code to not to treat everyone equally,
That's
right?
where I have to add another flavor of something is that no matter what, not that everybody can be bought, but blackmail is way more powerful than even buying people. People can always take your fucking 100,000, and this is a lesson that I've learned, not from any personal experience, but just from people I know in my family or what have you. Is that blackmail will benefit, and it doesn't even matter if that's blackmail or not, but no matter what, people can be forced to do things they don't want to do from either blackmail or money. And that's whatever
You know what?
conversation.
I just reminded of someone else in the chat. He's like, I love to see these like a-hole billionaires charity donations, like books, like the books in general. What's funny is there was some video of someone like I think they were like they're at some government building. There was a bunch of billionaires or whatever, like rich people talking about like, oh yeah, like raise the taxes on us, like we can pay it, blah blah blah. And then the people are like, oh yeah, hey, right here, if you want, like you can go to the government website right now and donate your money to the general welfare fund. You do that right now, and every fucking one of them was like, oh no, I want them to raise tax. They want the tax. These rich people want the fucking taxes raised on them because it's not going to affect them.
No, because they already have lobbied for God knows how long. I mean, yet again, I remember just what Smedley Butler Wars a Racket is one of the few books I give half a shit about because I don't really read books. I'm a fucking
Real
retard.
quick, I like Max's reenactment of Deer Hunter. It's like very very cool right now.
This is a Yerma Talks episode, and because I'm an Italian and bisexual, it's my episode for now.
Yeah,
I'm
for
making
sure.
up for the last time.
I'll give you
Where
the
I
YouTube
have
key,
to-
bro. You just take over. Yeah.
I get to be fair. I get to be the slightly left or more empathetic leaning person, or at least I definitely say I'm always more left than y'all. I'm still in the same overall demographic. It's just I have
Well,
more
one,
faggy
you
things
already
too.
know I don't care. And
Yeah,
two,
no, I know you don't care. It's more of
I
have to have the
I
same
do
as
have
other people.
empathy. Fuck you.
Not
And three,
enough,
I'm gonna
bro.
top the shit out of you and continue.
Well, when I start making some union checks, I'm gonna go on a little vacation out west. That's beside the point. No, it's just like at least let's say, for example, right now, let's say, and this is my favorite hypothetical, is if you had a smaller government and your taxes you got to choose personally, they gave you a list of taxes that like you'd have to pay them no matter what, which obviously we all don't agree with. But if you had a list of things you could go to, would that be more acceptable just in general? I think that's at least a reasonable
no,
take to have.
If for sure, like even right now, let's say this system right now, you could literally do a checkbox. Like you have to pick at least one,
Yeah.
but you have to pick where your tax money can go to, and they have
And-
everything. Then
And we
yes,
pretend
that would
it's
be
proven that
more
it's going to
acceptable.
that exactly, and that program is being run
Be-
as well as it can be.
Because that list would have to have bombing innocent fucking brown children.
Yeah,
in Middle Eastern
no,
countries.
The list would probably be exhaustive on purpose, but I would still have the option of help. I don't know, maybe the homeless, because I know you guys talk about the homeless, and the homeless is a really difficult conversation to have.
No, it's
because
not.
the reality is,
It's not. It's
okay,
not difficult. Not for me.
It's not hard. Okay, but I think for a lot of people, because it's always like, oh, just
No,
we got this program, but
we fuck around joking about home, like how like I said earlier. I think I said on Frank's show that the homeless would just be executed because that's illegal in Ancapistan. But for real, and that was clearly a joke because I laughed at it on his show. If anyone took that seriously, sorry, you'll get to know me. But no, like one thing, like not so many people might be homeless in Ancapistan because you have more of like a structured unit, in some sense. Like the people are more likely to take care of you, right? Like there's currently in our current system, there are laws against helping homeless people. Like there's been
Yes,
stories
that's
of
there's a poverty tax too, which is inherently
dude,
fucking disgusting.
there was some story a couple of years ago where there like people had like meat that was going to expire. It wasn't expired yet, like a week out or something. And like we're just gonna do a big cookout. We're gonna help the homeless and shit. The police came, threw this shit out, and poured bleach all over it.
Yeah.
This is your government working against the
And
fucking
that- it's
homeless
not,
people.
it's, you know, the worst part is that's not even like police. I'm sure there's like one sergeant being like, "Oh, well, it's technically illegal," or a lieutenant, or whatever. And it's like
When you have an
this
entire
is crazy.
like a majority of a police force enforcing this law, you got to question what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't say specifics to some recent events of my own where I've had to deal with law enforcement. Let me say, if I didn't already have like a pretty bad view of how law enforcement deals with things, this more recent events have made me pretty much have basically no fucking hope in the overall justice system to do even the basic things right. I'm not going to deny like the option of like, listen, there are some people who go into these places with good intentions and either are fired, quit, or get corrupted because it's they can get fucking killed, or it's just the system, and it's harder to quit than stay. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend like it's that easy. But it's just showing that like some people just are not empathetic or caring people, and they're in the wrong fucking career, where they should have been stockbroker douchebags instead of
Yeah.
fucking cops who are trying to deal with victims of crimes, for example. In my case, allegedly, where there's no empathy. And,
Wait, I got a question for Max real quick. How was that pee, bro?
Actually, I didn't pee. I was just shutting off lights and shutting curtains and
I was
shit
joking.
like
So I'm
that.
like Max just left. He's like, yeah, this is nothing for me. Like, what when you guys started talking about Grossy again? Call me back. Text me.
I should have gone pee in the middle of that.
Go in your pants, bro.
That's
Grow
fine.
up.
No, we'll
gonna
end this
see
soon
it.
enough.
Actually, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go pee.
All right, that's cool. We'll wait for you to get back before we end anything.
Yeah, no, it's just I got 5:30. I just want to entertain myself.
All right.
What were we talking about? I just fucking lost it.
No, we're just talking about the
Let's
general.
talk about fucking like law enforcement as a whole is one
Actually,
of those things that
hold on,
yeah.
real quick. I got a question for the people in chat from the Quite Frankly podcast. That what is everyone's feeling about the Constitution, how well it works, and all that type beat. And I'm gonna put that out there, and then Yimra, keep talking, and I will interrupt.
Oh no, I was just saying that like yet again, like as someone who has worked in the private sector more so of not fully law enforcement security or private investigation or what have you. There's certain opinions about that obviously there are issues with those. And same with public law enforcement in the sense of state police, local police. I always found sheriff communities, at least the sheriff police departments, a little bit better in the sense that they could literally be voted out, and or depending on the kind of like town structure you have socially, they could literally just be removed at any time if the whole town is sick of their shit. And it's kind of hard to go to a court case where the entire town says the sheriff's an asshole into a state court where that doesn't go the town's way. Let's be frank. I mean, as much as the courts can also suck because judges are vehement assholes or very sympathetic, almost to a point of being a problem. It's one of those things. I feel like obviously in our perspective and in our perspective, we don't have. Obviously, it's not like the average person deserves empathy that's from these groups because they do a lot of heinous things. But no matter what, there's always going to be somebody who's going to be enforcing protection and going to be investigating things and all the other kind of stuffs. And there's a discussion of community policing that hasn't fully ever been properly executed. There's been attempts, and in some cases, it does work for pockets of people, even within a community. Not everybody's on board with it, but some people are. And there's also a problem with the thin blue line where, there was a conversation of literally ethnic gangs in police departments like LAPD had as a whole, big issue of it. Or, like, you have to rely on your partner or your police department for people you work with to make sure you don't die from some fucking crackhead or what have you, or some gang member who doesn't want to go back to jail because, yet again, the jail system's also bad. It's just there's so many layers of systems that create like this self-eating dragon or self-eating snake of like, if the criminal justice system was better and if the police department was better, or policing or security or enforcement of what everyone is agreeing on.
Let's shift to the policing
Yeah.
aspect of it, because like
Okay.
well, obviously we agree that qualified immunity is fucked up. Like that is not, and Max is coming back, so we bring this up to him.
Mhm.
So we're just talking about like how policing is a problem because of justice and all that. What are you eating? Do you got ice cream? What's going on?
Yeah. I made myself a bowl of ice
There
cream
you
in the
go.
middle. Of
Hell
the
yeah. So, qualified immunity, like, I get why people are against getting rid of it, right? Because, like, well, police are doing a tough job, right? Like, which is, to us, not so much, but I can understand the argument from other sides.
It depends really what kind of
But-
cop you are. Are you a pencil
Yeah.
pusher in
Well,
like one part of Manhattan, or are you fucking
Dude, I had one person tell me one time, like as I was talking about getting rid of qualified immunity, right? And like my brother is a cop, and he says, "Yeah, get rid of it." I'm like, "Cause dude, like he's like, it's stupid. Like to him, it doesn't make
My brother
make
is
sense."
also a cop, and yeah, he's like, get fucking like, why the fuck do we have
So-
special immunity? from-
So like he was like, if you're doing your job correctly, it's not a problem. Qualified immunity is not a problem. Like to get rid of. That's what like my brother says, but granted, that's anecdotal. Put that out there. So like I had some other person saying like, oh, my husband's a cop, and if we got rid of qualified immunity, like he'd be fucked because he gets like they attempt to sue him all the time. And I'm like, maybe, just maybe, your husband isn't a good cop. Perhaps if he's attempting to get sued all the time. So, but the
Is
main
he shooting fucking people all the time?
I don't know if he's like, I don't know if that dude was aggressive or something. He must have been. I'm saying like, get rid of qualified immunity because that's not even a law. That was just something the Supreme Court put in of their own volition and shit. Like they're just like, hey, we're gonna do this. Like what the fuck?
No, I don't think any state or anywhere in the federal government is the word qualified immunity.
although
Total
what you could say was that
judicial.
No, there. I think qualified immunity came from a Supreme Court, like SCOTUS. There was some case, and SCOTUS just added that in, that we rule this, and also cops can't be charged if they weren't clearly violating someone's rights, constitutional rights, but it was so vague, right? Like it was so like forgive my French, retarded.
No, qualified immunity is even stupider than that, because qualified immunity is to say, if policing is routinely done in this fashion in this jurisdiction, then you cannot.
Oh,
qualify.
hell
You
yeah.
cannot
Red Dirt
prosecute
Red.
them up.
Hold up, real quick. Red Dirt Redneck in the chat says they could buy their own insurance for work like the rest of the world. Hell yeah, cops can just get their own insurance, and that's actually what I told this person. It was like, your cop husband could just buy insurance. He's like, you know how expensive that would be? I'm like, can't be that much. I'm like, it'd be lower if you stop violating the shit out of people's rights. Like, very simple. And now to the Constitution aspects that I asked earlier for people to respond to. Red Dirt Redneck said, today is written, the Constitution is a great literary work of art as a barrier to government when written for a moral people. Yes. And then Crystal Pistol said he used to think it was good, but last year's, it seems top officials do what they want regardless. Also, yes. So the Constitution, to me at least, it's fairly, it outlines your rights very well. Like, generally speaking, right? But the problem with the Constitution, it doesn't stop anyone from doing anything. It's supposed to be the law of the country. Like, every country has a Constitution. Ours is better because we have the Second Amendment, for example.
It's actually written down, as opposed to like the United Kingdom, like our predecessor was the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And theirs wasn't a written constitution. Ours is actually written down. As opposed to like the successor constitutions, like there was a right to bear arms in the Soviet Union. Just saying.
Based. So like the Constitution is great at laying out your basic like human rights, your natural rights, right? Because it's basically like John Locke type beat, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, like obviously the problem is it's a piece of paper, and it requires everyone to vote in the right people that will follow the Constitution. And I think history of the country has taught us that's not how it works. And that's why I'm not a big fan of it. Not a big fan.
I mean, like there's something to be said for like our culture is what prevents the Constitution from being violated, in a sense that like they wanted to ban handguns in 1934 during the National Firearms Act, or add them
Because of a bunch of Italians, huh? Kind of fucking racist, if you ask me.
Exactly. And so
And
it's
Irish.
like there was a cultural impetus against this, like, oh, like I guess culturally we agree to the fact that like machine guns are generally used by criminals, and we don't care about that other stuff that's like basically non-existent. But like really you should not have handguns included, because everyday people use handguns all the time for self-defense. Like handguns are what people use. Like we had a culture of handgun use, and that's why handguns were not included in the National Firearms Act of 1934. And so like going forward to today, it's like you could easily argue that short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns could just as equally be used for home and personal defense as a handgun can be, but those are included in the National Firearms Act, and now we have this pistol brace registration shit that's coming down from the ATF. And so, like, yeah, what's the Constitution done to prevent that the people have the right to bear arms? It's written.
All right, so we got
But we have to have a culture of people saying, yeah, this is a normal thing that we use for that purpose. That it codifies it in a sense. Like there's a cultural component on top of the written legislative component of it all.
So I got a question. I'm not trying to like. I'm not like trying to be like, start shit or whatever. I got a quick question for Red Dirt Redneck in the chat, because he said not your rights, God given, limits the government. And he said gun debate proves my point, which is whatever. But my question is, so the Constitution, I think the Constitution lays out your natural rights. That like the Constitution does not give you rights. They tell you the rights you naturally have. Okay, so you naturally have these rights, like to a gun, to free speech, all that stuff, simply like from your creator, God, right? So we can agree on that, I think. I'm not going to say that you do. So what do you feel, Mr. Redneck, about illegal immigrants in our country? Should they be able to own a gun? I'll put that out there. I'll wait for a response. Did Yimmer go to the bathroom?
I guess so, man. I
Dude, how you feeling, by the way, man? How many drinks did you start drinking on Frank's show?
Yeah.
That was your mistake, bro. I had fucking tea for his show because I was like, I'm gonna drink tea.
No, I'm doing all right. I just had a couple whiskeys.
You're like, yeah, I'm doing all right. I just had to fucking stop and get ice cream in the middle of a podcast. You're in Colorado. You probably smoked.
No, I'm not actually in Colorado, but
Oh, I know where you are, but we're not going to say it. But yeah, we know. I do know.
It's no, I said it on the last podcast. I'm in Wyoming, but
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's Wyoming's a big ass state, man. It's bigger than the state you're fucking in.
Did you ever get
So-
ice cream too? No, we got cereal.
No, it's chicken noodle soup.
Oh, chicken
Hopefully
noodle
this
soup.
will-
Okay.
Hopefully I won't throw this up. I've been pretty lucky so far outside of throwing up next to
But
me.
like,
Or
I don't. Yeah, I only. When did we start? It was like 5:30. Yeah,
Oh yeah, your time. Yeah, so it was 7:39.
Yeah, I'm on Mountain Time. You two are on Eastern Time.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
it's
even-
like almost 10:30 for me. And
it's
yeah.
literally about 10:30. Yeah, 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm on Mountain Time. Like, yeah, it was like 5:30, and I had a couple beers, and I had a couple whiskeys, and it's almost 9 right now, so it's like less than a drink an hour. So I don't know.
apparently you're on an empty stomach. You need some ice cream. Just kidding.
Well,
yeah, look at this fucking fairy.
who doesn't want some? Fucking
So
ice
like
cream with
literally fucking all week, I was like thinking like
this is real vanilla bean shit. Like the black flecks in it and everything like that. Like
I was like-
I don't.
I was like, cause like Frank show, I'm like, I want to be like tip top. I'm like, yeah, I'm like it was literally today. I was like, I'm not gonna drink on his podcast. I'm gonna wait for ours after to drink. So I'm like, I'm gonna just make up my tea that I've been drinking, and to fucking do that. Cause I'm like, cause if I start drinking on his podcast, I'll be fucking game over for ours. But like, yeah, so things, right, guys?
Yeah, it's like society's pretty fucking nuts. Am I right, fellas?
I just goes like,
Esoteric.
let's go full
I mean,
Joker.
you could watch back.
I'll just go full
our
Joker.
episode.
Like, you know, the problem with society is that people don't understand how the world truly works, and I'm here to tell them how.
Let's go do Joker impressions now.
Yeah, why not? I think my kid woke up because of
You
that.
let a bunch of female twinks come in here and
I'm gonna.
bolster
I should
everything.
clip that. I should clip that. And put it on Tumblr, and YouTube. Just like, you want to know what the problem with society? Oh, so we got what's everyone drinking in the chat? We got someone else has got vodka and ginger ale. Nice. Okay. All right.
Oh, I had a
Pale mule action.
I had a ginger ale and rum the other day, and it changed my life because that shit actually fucking gets you clinically retarded. This shit hits different. Ginger ale and rum.
You don't even like white rum. I'm a big fan of black rum, but a former coworker from a different dealership I worked at was ordering it. He was like, "Oh, it's on me." I'm like, "Bro, say less. Give me shots. Give me your fucking schmeat. Don't matter. On you."
All right, boys.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we end this podcast tonight?
Yeah, I was
That almost
gonna ask
throw
if
off
we
fuses,
could
that was
close
risky.
out because like I'm working towards GAN tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Like,
for
I'm
sure,
okay
for
with that.
sure. All right, well, everyone, thank you for coming out tonight and enjoying this podcast. Some new timers, some the usuals coming out. Enjoy your drinks for later. We had Max, we have Ben dipped out. Yimra eating his chicken noodle soup because he's sick
Yeah.
from that McChicken or no fillet.
Fish fillet.
It's a terrible
It was
choice.
so good though. I'm still gonna get one. Just I gotta take an antibiotic before.
God, you're awful. All right, and
I'm literally sweating. It's fucking awful.
everyone, have a good night.